And welcome back to The Rip. This is episode 38. My man is Damon is back. What the hell is going on, man?
Not much, man. It's good to be back.
Yeah, 100%. I remember the last time we seen you was Super Bowl Nachos Sunday, which was actually not the Super Bowl weekend, but...
Yeah, our preview episode where we talked the big game and went absolutely ham creating the most ridiculous nachos I've probably ever had and probably ever will have.
Yeah, I mean,
but definitely a fun time.
I mean, I kind of understated where I thought it was big, but I didn't think it was as big until I heard what you told me what happened. Yeah, I know you told me what happened. Do you want to tell kind of the people what happened, just so it's out on the internet?
Why not? Everything's gonna get leaked out on the internet in some form anyway.
Someday, right? You know?
Yeah, you never know, but definitely not one of my proudest moments. So after that episode wrapped up, I was meeting some friends to watch the NASCAR Clash. It's an event that they had at the LA Coliseum, and I'm driving along. I got about 10 minutes to go before I reach my destination, and needless to say, my plumbing was not happy with me at all. I'm holding it in. There's definitely a little turtle head poking out, and with about 10 minutes to reach, I'm at that critical point. It's like, you know what, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to be able to hold it. So as I'm driving along, I'm on like a rural stretch of highway. I pull over. However, this was after some significant snowfall a few days before. I went in a little too hot and misjudged the snowbank and ended up getting my car stuck. And I got an itty-bitty little Honda, so not a lot of torque there. So what do? Adrenaline immediately kicks over. I get out of the car. I start digging with my scraper like an absolute madman. Within a couple of minutes, a nice passerby, Good Samaritan, pulled over in his minivan, recognized my situation. He's like, here, get back in, put it in neutral, we'll try and give it a shove.
Yeah.
It's not budging. And he's like, shoot, I got my kid in the van, I can't really stay. I was like, don't worry about it. Thanks for the help all the same. Have a great night.
Yeah.
Another fellow comes along in a Ford pickup truck. He's like, oh, you really got her stuck in there, right? And I'm like, yeah, I just kind of overshot it. And he's like, no problem. So he gets his tow straps, he gets my car out, and I make a point of waiting until I cannot see his taillights anymore after he has left. And then I make sure that there is nobody else around. So I pulled my car up to the nearest driveway. I probably set a new world record for the 50-meter sprint. I immediately find the closest tree and shrubbery that I could find, and just an absolute jalapeno, flaming hot Dorito, hash brown inferno just completely unleashed from my body. I think part of my soul escaped.
That's crazy.
It was not comfortable. There was a lot of different emotions. There was pain. There was burning. There was hysterical laughter. There was the, oh my God, what have I just done on Highway 11? But I made it. My car wasn't written off. I made it to my destination okay, and I've not heard the end of it ever since I was smart enough to text this guy about it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, beware any nacho experimentation that may occur on Off the Rip.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, off the fucking rip up the asshole.
Something definitely ripped.
Yeah, no, I know.
But, I don't regret it. It was still absolutely delicious.
That was fucking hilarious. I mean, the funny thing was, honestly, about that, reflecting back on it, I was like I told you, after, I just, 2 hours, maybe an hour or so being bloated, then I just ripped a full-on dinner,
yeah, I don't get it. And not just a dinner. We're not just, talking like a salad and, a chicken breast. Man had a freaking lasagna.
I actually doubled down, too.
You doubled down, too. Just death by cars. I think that's the Italian in you. I don't know. I definitely could not have done that.
Yeah. No, because, I'm half munch a cake, too. But I got that Italian in there as well.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. So, I think it's that hybrid, you know what I mean?
It is.
It makes for some fucked up situations.
He just processes the carbs and the pastas differently, man.
I know. Man. No, I just I was just fucking that's one of the funniest things I ever fucking heard when I heard that. I did not expect that at all.
Yeah. And it's not just hey, made it home safe, had a great time, thanks. It's guess what just happened on the side of the road.
I know. You know what it is? That's what happens when you sign up for this. You know?
Yeah.
There's ramifications.
You just gotta go full send, man.
No, that's a full send moment, and it's actually cool that somebody pulled over. 2 people pulled over.
Yeah, you know what, and good on people, especially this time of year. As much as it is the thing where people should be road ready, have a roadside emergency kit, have a first aid kit or a blanket,
right.
In case of worst case scenario. The fact that situation that I had and was able to get help and get a solution within about 10 or 15 minutes, man, good luck finding that in like some other places in the world, you know.
Goddamn, yeah. That's some like faith for humanity, eh?
Yeah.
Like honestly.
Yeah, Canadians and winter, there's like a different level of kindness that can take place.
No, honestly, like, because a lot of people just look the other way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or they just think it's super sketch, or oh, this is like somebody that's setting someone up to try and rob me, or I got somewhere else to be. What an idiot, and just like drive right by. But
yeah,
the guy that really helped me out, like super nice dude. We exchanged information. Just so we meet up and pay him some proper thanks later on. But man, karma takes care of people. Believe that.
Yeah. Well, little did they know. The poor guy was just having a nacho attack. Like it's all
right. That's what I'm saying.
Ass, yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm amazing I held character because I guess the adrenaline was completely taking over at that point. But again, made a point of purposely waiting until I couldn't see his taillights anymore.
So I'm guessing craziest food challenge ever done. I guess.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
I'd definitely say I haven't had anything crazier since or before.
Plus a package with a story. Like that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's fucking nuts.
Yeah, there's definitely a before and after.
That'll go down in the history books for sure. 100%. One for the that's a memory and a half for sure. That shit you'll save for a long time. I bet. Like.
Well, in my case, I didn't because it literally flew out of me within about 0.3 seconds as soon as I found the tree. But
oh really?
Yeah, the story will stay with me. The shit, no, thank God.
No, I know, man. I'd be so embarrassed. Honestly, I'd be so fucking embarrassed. But
no, man.
You just gotta laugh about it.
You do, man. You just gotta laugh it off. Chat one up for story time later on, but only with a select audience.
Yeah, no.
Or for all of YouTube to find out right now.
Yeah, man. YouTube always you gotta be honest with YouTube. YouTube's like, it's a very easy relationship. It's just like you just gotta keep it honest, 100.
keep it real. Honesty can be selective, I find.
Right off the rip, right?
Exactly. Always off the rip.
Always. But I know I was talking about more like the good the good in humanity and stuff. I know you have like obviously like a military background and all that.
Yep.
What's like I talked about this a little bit like solo last week. What are your thoughts on like Russia and Ukraine, all that shit going on right now? Like, love to pick your brain at that. Like.
No, for sure. It's definitely the hot conversation around the world right now. You can never mind CNN or the major news outlets. You can't even open up TikTok without seeing video of what's going on over there. And I think that is something very new as a culture that we haven't experienced before in terms of just daily exposure to it, and not just by conventional media. I mean, I grew up in the 9/11 era where, we had to get used to the images of, planes going into the Twin Towers, and then a couple of years later, the invasion of Iraq, where you're watching CNN and downtown Baghdad is getting pounded with cruise missiles and airstrikes and things like that. And now you're seeing it on TikTok, and it's not just reporters, it's the actual civilians on the ground, it's soldiers on the ground.
Totally different.
Yeah, so, I mean, first and foremost, I don't see this as like a World War III situation kicking off at all.
No.
I mean, some folks are quick to kind of write up the doomsday scenario situation.
Of course,
and you see like the memes about it, and I wish people would kind of just shut up about that. Because at the end of the day, this is still a democracy that's fighting for its existence against an authority that's totalitarian.
Yeah.
And also, too, part of it leaves a weird taste in my mouth in that, the world is so preoccupied with like all this and just seeing it all unfold and how it's like captivating the attention of most of the world. Yet you could make the argument that similar situations have been ongoing with Israel and Palestine for years, or bombings and attacks happen in the Middle East and nobody seems to bat an eye about it.
Yeah, I mentioned that last week. Yeah.
But because it's an immediate NATO issue and because it's a Russia issue, then it immediately becomes like a focal point, and it's like all eyes on that right now. The way I see it, this is definitely about Vladimir Putin. It's about his legacy, where he's wanting to, if you want to call it re-establishing myth of an old Soviet empire, or making part of his legacy where he's bringing Crimea back into the permanent Russian orbit. He's trying to bring parts of Ukraine back into that country. And it's about, him and what his legacy ends up being, for however long he remains as Russian president. In terms of how it's going for the Russian military, I would say not good at all.
Yeah.
I think it leaves them exposed with the fact that they really haven't learned much since the Chechen wars in the 90s, that they are still not strong suited to execute a prolonged campaign, especially with a focus on urban warfare and urban fighting, especially in major city centers. They've captured some key strategic targets. I think there was obviously a lot of noise made when they captured Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And more recently when they captured a second nuclear power plant. For them, it was strategic because that power plant supplied 20% of Ukraine's power. So that is an advantage to them. But the fact that they were actually shelling a nuclear power plant is completely insane.
It is.
It came to the point where it was later identified, well, they're actually just like firing artillery at an administration building as opposed to the actual reactors and other sensitive material. But nevertheless, incredibly bold, reckless move.
Yeah.
So with that, aside from that, they really haven't captured any major objectives in terms of capturing a major city. They haven't captured a major city like Kiev. They're still having a hard time in terms of logistics, getting men and materials on the move, to a point where there's been satellite imagery of convoys that are several dozen kilometers long of just trucks and equipment and vehicles just sitting there.
You know what though? Is that kind of embarrassing that Russia's having trouble? Like that, because they should be able to run the fuck over them, right?
They should be. Absolutely, they should be. Like on paper, you should absolutely be able to say that Russia, for the most part, should be able to essentially steamroll a much smaller Ukrainian resistance. However, one thing to remember is that the enemy always has a say, and the Ukrainians are showing incredibly strong will in their resistance. It's not just their own military that's putting up a fight. It's certainly civilians. It's people that are stepping up to answer the call. We're starting to see veterans from around the world starting to pour into the country now, as a foreign legion has now kind of been authorized by the Ukrainian government. So you're seeing a lot of veterans from all over the world, the United States, Britain, a few from Canada going. Right now, I think the focus is more on medical and logistical supplies as opposed to direct combat.
Exactly, yeah.
But all the same, it's all about momentum when it comes to actually taking land and being able to move at a pace that denies your opponent a chance to kind of recover, to regroup, take a look at its assets, and try to figure out its planning and strategy. And then on top of that too, what else have we seen? We've seen that the Russians have actually lost one of their main battlefield commanders. He was a 1 or 2 star general. Yeah. And he was the commander of the 7th Russian Airborne Division.
Oh, he got gunned down?
Yeah, he was killed by a Ukrainian sniper.
Jeez.
So to have somebody of that higher rank already taken out within such a short time since the campaign's kicked off, that should be a level of concern. Yeah. They also still haven't established air superiority. Yeah. Helicopters and aircraft are still being shot down. I believe in the last 2 or 3 days, they've already lost 9 different aircraft, a few transport and attack helicopters, some attack aircraft like fighter bombers, transport aircraft, that sort of thing. So I would say for Russia, it is kind of showing that they are kind of a shell of its former self. I don't think they were the massive power that they were during the Cold War years. You're seeing a mix of what they're fighting for as well. Part of it is conscripts, where the stories that are coming out are they were more of a conscript force that was told, we're on military maneuvers and exercises, and now we're moving into this area. You can see these videos that, again, are open to speculation. It's them saying, we had no idea what was going on. There were Ukrainians who are saying, look, we've captured these prisoners, but we'll send them back to the border as long as their mothers come and pick them up. Right. Which is absolutely wild.
It's crazy.
It is, completely. But with that too, I think you're also seeing a resolve of Ukraine, and also the level of support that they are getting in terms of just military aid. Obviously you're seeing hordes of Javelin missiles and Stinger missiles being sent in, so that gives them a very effective fighting ability against armor and aircraft. I believe the early estimates right now are around 280 Russian armored vehicles have been destroyed since the fighting's kicked off. Yeah. Aircraft, again, there's a means to defend themselves there. The battlefield rumors call it an urban legend of the ghost of Kiev. There's a story going around of a Ukrainian MiG pilot who's already downed at least 6 Russian aircraft. So that is yet to be like 100% confirmed with any real concrete substance.
Yeah.
The former Ukrainian president confirmed that the man was real and they gave a name, but again, you could definitely say that's a piece that's written to help boost the morale for Ukrainian people.
Yeah. It's kind of
Well, exactly. Well, it needs stories to rally behind. Not much different from Russia in World War II with snipers like Vasily Zaitsev as an example. So anyway, in terms of how the war is going, I would say it's not really going well for Russia at all. Again, I think to help folks understand why it happened in the first place. Again, I think it's about Putin's legacy and what he's trying to achieve as like Russian leader and trying to reassert control over a certain area. Crimea was already taken years and years ago because they had a lot of kind of ethnic ties there, but Crimea also gave them access to a warm weather port, which is essential for them for international trade, so they can send shipping in and out of that sea lane. Because aside from that, the Russians only really had like 1 or 2 warm weather seaports that didn't freeze over in the winter.
Yeah.
So having that venue allows more trade to occur, which helps their economy and stuff. But now we have, United Nations that are very much against this military action. You have NATO and the West stepping in with absolutely massive sanctions.
Yeah.
And it's why you're seeing gas prices going up so much and may go up even more.
Yeah, no, just because of that.
Yeah, like Exxon has shut down offshore drilling off the coast of Russia and in the North Sea. Right now, the Russian economy is absolutely tanked. The ruble is at 1 cent to the American dollar.
Yeah.
So their money really isn't much worth anything right now. MasterCard and Visa have shut down operations in Russia. So the Russian people are definitely going to be feeling the crunch about this.
Yeah.
And a lot of people might be saying, well, why isn't NATO getting militarily involved? Why aren't they establishing a no-fly zone? What's going on? Is Biden being too soft? Well, the idea, I think, from the West is the hope that with all of these sanctions and by really hitting them hard on their economy and their oligarchs and denying them funds, cutting off access to SWIFT, cutting them off from the American dollar, amongst even just other companies and just people around the world just calling for a boycott of Russian products.
Yeah.
The hope is that it's going to force elements of the Russian government to step in, or even just the Russian people to step in and be like, look, Putin, you're screwing up here.
Yeah.
You're kind of out of your depth, and the execution is not going as well as you think it is, and we're the ones that are paying for it. So, there's that.
Yeah.
So, who knows how long it's going to drag out for? Obviously there is still the Western support, not just in terms of arms and sort of material, but there is sort of logistical support and intelligence. There's reconnaissance aircraft that are patrolling outside of Ukrainian and Russian airspace that are able to monitor what's going on and provide that information to the Ukrainian military.
Yeah.
But as it is right now, I think it just comes down to an old saying Napoleon had a long time ago.
Napoleon.
If the enemy is making mistakes, don't interrupt them.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much what's happening right now. Ukraine isn't going to want to engage in straight open conflict. They're going to want to
defend.
They want to defend, but they also kind of want to draw the Russians in and force them to fight on their terms.
Yeah.
That is one of the advantages of being on the defense,
Yeah.
where if the enemies are making mistakes, you can capitalize on that. It feels like right now, to make it, it's very watered down and oversimplified, but it feels like if I were to use a sports analogy like football, it feels like right now the Russians are going for a first down instead of just going for touchdowns.
Yeah.
So that's the way I see it. But in terms of major conflict going off, no, I don't see anything escalating like that point. I think the sanctions are going to take a crunch to a point where it's going to force everybody back to the bargaining table. But the biggest thing I feel is that the West, NATO, what they need to do is somehow find a way to give Putin an out.
Yeah.
Because right now it's not going to his favor at all. Momentum's not in his favor. The campaign isn't going well for him at all. And his only way to really save face is to withdraw. I just don't see this being successful in terms of being able to overtake an entire
it's a
country.
huge embarrassment.
It's a massive embarrassment, as it should be. And again, it just shows the Russian military just really isn't as strong as what they once were. Again, maybe there could be other amounts that we're just not seeing, or we haven't seen like the full might yet, or their full resolve, or how far they're willing to take this.
Yeah.
But I don't think that we're gonna like sort of like take the bait that they might be trying to lay out right now.
Yeah. I don't want to fuck with a crazy person. That's the one thing. I don't want to doubt him.
Yeah.
You think he's bluffing with saying that like if the world gets involved, like a huge ramification. Like that's the thing. Like World War III would never happen just because there would be no wars. Everybody would be dead because of nukes.
That's just it. Like again, there's been this policy of mutually assured destruction, which means if one side fires off nukes, the other side's gonna fire off.
Everybody's just dead,
and everybody's gonna be dead. Exactly.
Honestly,
like for anything even escalate militarily from a NATO perspective, a lot would need to happen. There was talk from about a week ago where Poland, Latvia, and Lithuania all initiated Article 4 of NATO. Now, that's more like a precaution where they're taking that stance of being like, look, there is a potential for a security risk here. So we're initiating this so that we can have dialogue with all member states and say, okay, this is a situation that's happening. What do we need to prepare ourselves for it? Now, they were doing that preparing for a humanitarian crisis. An influx of refugees going across their borders, having to deal with that situation and how to process all that and manage that. The very worst that could happen in terms of a NATO military commitment would be initiation of Article 5. Now, that it would mean full military intervention because there is a direct threat or an event has taken place on a member state. If that happens, all members get involved.
Because they have to, right? They're obligated to, right?
Exactly.
That's why they don't want them to be part of NATO.
Exactly. And that's just it. Putin has had his eye on Ukraine for a while, not just because of, the ethnic ties, because of the seaport issue. But again, it just comes down to the fact that Ukraine is right at the Russian border. They do not want a NATO presence that close to them on their ground. Not to mention that where it is strategically, it's relatively close to the great northern European plain. And that's been a massive stretch of land in geographic terms that enemies of Russia have been able to exploit and use when invading their territory. Napoleon used it in the 1800s because it's all flat land, not a lot of mountains, no major forests or anything like that. It's relatively straightforward to move large elements there in a quick period of time. The Germans used it when they invaded in Operation Barbarossa in 1942, when they tried to take over Russia. So they don't want that risk so close to their border. But in saying all this, with Putin saying we're doing this to fight Nazism in Ukraine, that's absolutely ridiculous. You have a president that's Jewish. He's doing it because he's fearful of NATO expansion. Well, he may have stalled Ukraine, but now you have Finland and Sweden that are pushing towards joining NATO. You also have Georgia now pushing to join the European Union. So that's kind of backfired on him. And also to secure security and, a stronger economy for Russia. Well, see how these sanctions have now treated you. So, again, it's what his intent was. It seems like all of it is like completely backfired in his face right now. And sadly, Ukrainians are paying for it. And a lot of innocent Russians, too, I might add.
The Russian people are good people, right? Like, just themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it on, like, the TV, how significant amounts have been protesting all over Moscow and all over the country. But FSB's cracked down on that. They don't want protests like to happen. You can just see arrests happening, like, straight away. They've already cut off access to Twitter and Facebook because they don't want people rallying. Like, there's talk where if you even tweet about trying to organize a protest rally, 15 years in prison.
Craziness. Or like you just talk against the state, like which is nuts.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all know Putin's rigged the elections, right? Like to stay in power, right?
Yeah, well, and that's just it. We could have that rigged election conversation, but nevertheless, like again, we're talking about somebody that is former KGB, and we're talking about a country that has spent a significant amount of time and material and resources on information campaigns.
Right.
Again, that's why I caution people like how you're taking the news and where you're getting it from. I mean, you have your CNN versus Fox side of things, or your Associated Press, or like the BBC, or any of those major publications. And then, of course, there's a social media factor.
Yeah.
In warfare, what's the other old expression that we have to say too? Professionals are predictable. It's the amateurs that you need to worry about because you don't know how they're going to behave, and that's what what we're seeing with Ukraine. So again, they're anticipating like a prolonged fight to dig in again in an urban environment where that doesn't allow for a lot of mobility or a lot of mistakes for logistics and movement of people. But I think the other thing to remember is that with amateurs in warfare, there is one very good thing that they are good at. Or no, sorry, I should say there is one good thing. No, not either. There's one thing that they are good at doing in conflict, and that's dying. So, what pains me to see is that for every video and every snippet that you're seeing on Instagram, on Snapchat, on TikTok, on any of those major platforms, for every one of those that you are seeing, whether it's somebody jumping on a Russian BMP, waving a Ukrainian flag, whether it's a tractor driver literally towing away a Russian tank that he found abandoned, or whether it's somebody showing out a bombed out section of the city while troops are moving around in contact, there's also videos that have been shot and photos that have been taken that are never going to get posted because somebody didn't make it. Yeah. And somebody got killed.
Did you see that Russian tank just run over an old man and him and his car?
Yeah, so
he's okay.
Yeah, actually. It's like they were okay. They were able to extract her from the vehicle.
That's horrifying.
You see this clip of this small black car that's on the far right side of the road. This Russian armored fighting vehicle all of a sudden literally swerves and comes over and literally just runs over pretty much the whole driver's side compartment.
What the fuck is that like?
So it's hard to say in that it could just be a driver error. It could be somebody attempting to take out a threat, because there's a chance that even if that car was being used by, let's call it a Ukrainian insurgent or a Ukrainian resistance fighter, if they had a vehicle-borne IED in there, there is a chance that armored vehicle could absorb most of the impact of it and continue to still operate. Yeah. So perhaps that is the situation there, but it's still a horrible scene that didn't need to be seen, but unfortunately that's just the reality of warfare.
Yeah, I know. It's a crazy situation. Never seen anything like it. I know what you mentioned before, even with the 9/11, see how the world changed after that, and just
yeah, completely.
And now will as well again.
Yeah, and certainly it's going to be a lot of culture shock for a lot of people, because again, you never really forget some of those images when you first see it. I don't like to say I've been normalized to it, but really with the way things are in the world and all sorts of conflict and various geopolitical issues around the world, it's same situation, just a new setting or new players.
Yeah.
But then seeing some younger folks, seeing it for the first time and how they're processing it and how they may have questions about it, and how that kind of takes off. It's is it going to be World War III? It's me and the boys getting ready to drop in Verdansk, or
oh god, man.
Yeah, just all that just really really cringe stuff. It's
fuck out of here.
It's not Verdansk. Yeah, exactly. War's not a video game. Yeah. I mean, I played Call of Duty, I guess, for a little bit of fun, here and there, just for downtime and stuff. But you don't want to be in the real thing.
No, 100%.
And I haven't even been in the real thing.
Fuck that. Yeah.
Ever. But we're smart enough to know because we listen to the people that were there and that did come home, and you also see from those that didn't.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Yeah.
I know one thing I even mentioned too. I know good friends of mine, they're Romanian, from Romania and stuff, and they're worried right now too. Because the part of the Baltic states, right? So,
yeah. And Romania is a significant oil reserve as well.
They're kind of worried, right? So,
yeah. I know someone that's in Kiev right now.
Really?
Yeah. I won't get into too many details. I guess just sort of protect them, even the smallest little bit. You never really
live
know.
There, or?
Yeah. So, the person moved back there after spending some time here in Canada. They moved back, a few months ago, and they own some condominiums in the city. So of course, I reached out to them and they're doing okay, but they're choosing to stay and they're choosing to kind of stand their ground and fight.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I'd do the exact same thing.
It wasn't a great time, to go back, not gonna lie.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, this person, has had experience in some of the conflicts before, and
yeah. So. Well, I mean, here's the thing. I remember when I was in high school, you mentioned Crimea. this shit was going on before. Like it was just a matter of time. Like it was just like, it was a while, right?
Yeah.
Until now, but it happened.
Yeah, like you could almost say it was like Putin's like test run, where it's like, okay, we're just gonna like take off like this little like piece of the pie and just kind of like see how the world reacts like on that one.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm just worried that like I was worried at the beginning where like if this goes through, like Taiwan's gonna get taken, right? That's the thing, by China, right?
Yeah. I mean, there was an incident I think of Chinese aircraft allegedly breaching Taiwan airspace. A small fighter group, crossed into their airspace. So I think there was talk of like rumblings over there. Now with that, like China has stated that the Russians should be showing restraint, but at the same time, but they kind of explained that the Russians should be showing restraint this time, but they didn't publicly speak against it either. And the other important thing to note is that when the UN voted to condemn the military action, China chose to make itself absent from the vote. So they didn't vote against it, but they also didn't vote in favor of it either. It's
fucked, yeah.
Yeah.
But then, like, going on in China is, like, right now some of the worst things in the world, too, with the concentration camps and shit.
Yeah, the Muslim genocide there. Their hands certainly aren't clean at all.
No, but, like, nobody wants to fuck with China. Like, nobody wants to...
No, because let's face it, they're relied on heavily for production of the world's goods. Let's face it, right? As of right now, it's fair to say that they are the biggest economy in the world now.
Yeah. Oh, it's easily, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's scared, always, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just shows like because the Western culture is always scared, right, all the time. Like,
well, it's like it's a quick startle, quick stare. Where like I think because it messes with our own sense of like control and understanding of like what's going on and for why.
Yeah.
And how it can disrupt like our daily lives as well. So.
Yeah, especially up here in Canada, that flag you're wearing right there. Like I remember when I used to be in history class, they used to emphasize like war has never happened in our country, like where it's actually like war is like. Physically happened here in the grounds apparently. So
yeah, well, I mean, you can make the argument for the War of 1812.
Yeah.
Russian or no, so sorry. Wow, why do we keep slipping back to that? German U-boats did sail up the St. Lawrence Seaway.
That's crazy.
During World War II. Snooping around for Allied shipping because Canada was a big hub for sending material and supplies across the Atlantic.
Really?
Yeah. So. Like, absolutely. I think it just hasn't really hit home. We just haven't been exposed to it for a long time because, for the better part of the last 50, 60 years, Canada has gained the reputation of being more of a peacekeeping nation.
Right.
We stepped in during the Suez Canal crisis, thanks to Lester B. Pearson, and it evolved from there. Of course, Afghanistan was a major wake-up call and a shift in what our capabilities were and how we had to adapt for our mission commitment there. So, seeing the scenes of troops fighting and in contact, especially in 2006 and 2007, that was definitely a culture shock for a lot of Canadians, and they just hadn't seen anything like that since Korea.
Yeah, it's a lot of world issues lately, honestly. Just in the last 6 months,
it's getting wild. The shows goes on. Like we thought 2020 was wild. We thought 2021 was even worse, and we're starting to finally come out of this COVID situation and really start to go back to normal. There's talks of the mask mandate coming to an end at the end of the month, and now it's now we have war in Ukraine.
I know. That's life, though.
Yeah.
Clearly, things, it is what it is, right? You just got to deal with it, right?
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah, that's just it, I know a lot of people will have a lot of questions or just an uncertainty or, it could just cause a lot of, undue stress or anxiety or a lot of just fear and uncertainty. The best thing I think anybody can really do is just, take the time to sort of ask those questions that do come to mind. Limit your exposure and how much information that you're taking in.
Exactly.
Fight the urge to check your phone every few minutes, even if it's a compulsive, behavior or a thought, or you're just wanting that little update. And above all else, just have conversations with people about it too. Share some thoughts about how you're feeling and talk about it, and just practice good habits of what you like to do to kind of take your mind off certain things. Like go for that walk, go for a run, work out, take up your hobby, meet a friend for a meal or a drink, or just play some video games or something like that.
Yeah, I think the only thing we can really do is just send our thoughts, but can't really do much. So
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, what's the old thing? hearts and thoughts and prayers to the people of Ukraine, and you can send emojis of the Ukrainian flags and sunflowers until like the cows come home, and that's all fine and good. A lot of people do that, but there are a lot of nonprofits where you can donate and provide assistance that will help, and it's not necessarily to provide like an arms race to Ukraine. It's sending help where it's needed. The Red Cross is a prime example. They're there right now, and they always take donations. You can buy from certain Ukrainian companies, like some apparel providers. You can buy T-shirts or stickers or little patches like that, and proceeds will go towards aid and medical supplies, and sending medics and other personnel to help with the situation. So definitely encourage you to do your homework on that. Find some of these organizations and understand how their resources and funds are being used and how that can help. And get after it, because every little bit counts. And a lot of people forget too, Canada has the third largest Ukrainian population outside of Ukraine in the world.
I believe it. Yeah.
Absolutely, and a lot of good people. So send help any way that you can, and let's just hope that cooler heads prevail in this situation and things can cool down.
Hopefully, it somehow blows over. Somehow.
Yeah.
You gotta cross your fingers.
Yeah. That's just it. Just hope for the best, but keep informed, but limit that too.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know. So hope for more positive things, like you were saying before. Like, I feel like we're out of this pandemic. I feel like we are.
Yeah.
It feels like it. Like, finally.
Yeah. Like, I see it at my work sometimes. We still get some folks that come in just to do their shop or do some business, and some of them just aren't wearing a mask. And
I see tons.
But it's at that point where it's just like we were never really confronting people about that or grilling them or asking them why, but it doesn't really seem to bother, I think, folks as much as more like, by all means, like, still have common sense, like, distance and wash your hands. I think washing your hands is just a simple point anyway.
It should be.
People are nasty and totally covered in germs. So
and I don't know why that's become so pertinent now. Like, weren't you doing that before? Like,
apparently
I guess not.
Apparently not. Look how friggin' fast everything spread when it first kicked off. That's enough evidence as it is.
Fucking nasty, man.
Yeah, people are gross.
Like, do you remember back in like high school, like, you remember like people just like drinking from each other's fucking things?
Oh yeah.
It's like, why would I do that though?
Yeah, some of us had to learn to hover over a toilet bowl, but
oh god, dude, it just comes all back. Like,
it does, man.
It's just fucking hilarious.
It does, but hopefully things get back to normal sooner, and we can finally get like a full summer going. Because man, I've missed going to concerts or being able to just be comfortable at a ball game or just check out a show somewhere, or just be around a whole bunch of people at a bar or a restaurant, or really just like any outdoor setting, really.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Hot Aim in summer. Like, I'm still waiting for it.
Same, man.
Honestly, like, it's been years in the making.
Been working out with my good buddy Darren for the better part of this whole time. I want to say about 1.5 years, 2 years now, and just quietly going about our business, just getting a little better every day and getting our exercises in, hitting the iron and pumping the weights and just eating good, and not just to like look good for like an eventual, hey, let's go to the beach, look absolutely shredded like freaking Black Diamond cheese. Yeah. No, it's just do it because it feels good and because it's going to put you in the right mental state.
Nah, dude, you got to do it for the bros.
Do it for the bros like gangs.
So stupid.
Give me that protein.
So stupid.
Oh, yeah.
God. Oh, my God.
Macho Man for you.
Oh, God. Macho Man. But it's just, it's just funny. I find... Still the bro code.
Absolutely. All about bro code.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping we have that summer though, honestly. Like,
I'm hoping so. I think when it does happen, I think it's just going to be a good time, I think, in the world. Where people are going to start coming together, and we just kind of celebrate and be like, hey, you know what? We made it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We made it, man.
We made it, bro.
We did it.
We did it for Johnny.
No, I know. God, dude, it's been a long ass time, man. Honestly, like, our lives has all changed since then. I think all of our mentalities are all different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
you'd be foolish to say that this hasn't changed you in some way or another, or had an impact on, like, somebody It has. Whether it's for the better or for the worst, kind of remains to be seen, but...
Yeah, I mean, like, I already had my, like, perspective changed, like, about a year before that with the fire in my house, so then that was just another perspective changer.
No, absolutely.
It was like double down. I mean,
because like you never really know just how suddenly everything can just be gone, or even just things that were super convenient or were just always there.
Yeah.
Now you kind of don't take those things for granted as much.
Yeah, 100%. No, it's like freaky. You know what I mean? Like just how it's done. Like I remember even just in general. Like I remember like up until like COVID started. Like I was always like, oh, go. Okay. And then it just slowed everything fucking down.
Yeah.
And for bad and worse. For bad and good. Like I think this is both of those, right? Like it screwed up my ultra time management a little bit.
Yep.
I mean, it's still good, but like it's not what it once was.
Yeah, it kind of threw off the clock there a little bit.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Because then we're just getting used to just sitting down all the time.
That's just it. It's just sitting down or just being on the couch or just like laying on your bed, just binge watching a show or just playing video games for hours on end or even just doing nothing.
I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of fun for a bit though. Like
it was, hell yeah.
Honestly, I'll be honest. Like
first little bit, like honestly, I think the first 2 weeks for me, I just would do my grocery shopping, like stock up on my food for a week or two, and I would just be absolutely chill, like reading a book or even replaying Legend of Zelda on N64.
Right.
Yeah, just being able to chill and do that, and have some FaceTime phone calls with some people, or just checking daily numbers, or checking with family, see how they're all doing.
Yeah, no. I just remember just like everybody always available online to play PlayStation.
Yeah.
And we were playing a lot of PlayStation.
Yeah, we had some good runs on Warzone and gun games.
Yeah, exactly. Gun game is amazing.
Yeah, it was the best.
Dude, very, very angry though. Like
there's a lot of rage.
Very rage.
E-Man's still learning how to clear his corners.
Yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, he will learn someday though.
Someday. One day. It might be like 20 years, but
well, maybe not that long.
Yeah, I don't think so.
We'll move on to like the PS 1500 by then.
Yeah, PS or the VS.
Yeah, the VS.
If you watch The Boys, the new
get your bot systems hardware upgrade.
100%. Yeah, the software update.
Yeah.
But no, yeah. I hope. I'm excited to hopefully travel and everything. I know I keep saying it all the time, but I'm ready. Like
I'm ready too.
I want to hop over that border. Like
same. I want to go to Cracker Barrel. I want to go to Steak and Shake.
Yeah.
I want to go to just a big American sporting event. I'd love to go to the shoe to catch a football game. Yeah.
Let's do it. I see you.
Always, baby.
I see you. It's time. I think it's time.
It is.
I remember we talked about going to watch the game at the Big House. I remember like years ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, like the Winter Classic was probably the greatest sporting event I've ever been to. I went to Ann Arbor in 2014, and that was an absolutely wild game.
I believe it.
Yeah. Even if my team lost, I'm a Red Wings fan. Don't hate.
Yeah. But no. It's sick. I need to go to the shoe still. I remember I was supposed to. I remember in 2019, just shit fell through, and just it's time to make it happen. It's time. I feel it, and I know I want to go to some games now because I know in the next year Ohio State goes to Notre Dame.
Yes.
And I'm not going to that.
Hell
so
no, that's
fuck
gonna be
that
a phenomenal
shit.
game.
Like that's like must go. Like
you have
going to South Bend. Like
I
don't give a fuck. Like
that's a once in a generation game.
No, yeah. Like the next time that'll happen, we'll be in the ground. Like 100%.
Yep.
So like
completely.
Not to be dark, but just like for real. Like you know what I mean? And I'm still salty about the Oregon game being missed, but they did reschedule it for the 2030s, but I'm not thinking about that. So I'm not thinking about being 30s.
The Ducks versus the Bucks, that is like a redneck's dream football match.
100%, and we're here for it.
We are here for it.
100%. And even like a huge bucket list thing is to go to Husky Stadium in Washington.
Yes.
To like tailgate on the water.
That'd be cool.
That's another bucket list thing.
Yep.
And that's going to be coming up in a few years too. So just I'm excited. I'm really excited. Like,
me too.
I feel like we wasted so much time, but now like we can get back at it. Hopefully.
Absolutely. Like me personally, would love to be able to make it down for a NASCAR race. Go to Talladega in Alabama or Bristol in Tennessee. Bristol, I would love to go to.
Oh,
because it's like this absolutely crazy small short track, but the crowd capacity is incredible.
I'd love to see that. Honestly, I would love to see it, but yeah, no. Honestly, it's been a long podcast. Time to wrap it up. Appreciate you for coming on as always.
Yeah, short and sweet, but good to be here, man.
Just talking about who don't and anything, right? Honestly, just, that's kind of the thing. So yeah, no, we haven't had like a full on guest in a while since you were on last. So about a month. So
about that. Yeah, it's been way too long. Well, I had to recover from Death by Nacho, but
I know
now things have leveled off and the docs have given me the go ahead.
Yeah, low-key time's been flying. So. Yeah. It was like that was a month ago.
That's just it, man.
Super Bowl was a month ago.
We're coming out of the thaw and things are getting warmer, so time is just gonna pick up even faster. Winter's always a slow roll, when it's like dark out at like 4:00. Yeah, you lose all sense of space and time. But now we're getting close to the 8 p.m. sunsets. So it's just gonna fly right by. So you gotta make the most of it.
100%, honestly. Cheers to better days. Obviously,
it's better days. We're gonna get there, man.
Of course, guys, and. And y'all, before we wrap it up, don't forget, obviously, you want to continue listening. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, even all anchor-related streaming platforms as well. If you want to support Damon also has a business, art business. He does shoes. He does everything, right?
Yes. So I do run a art and custom sneaker business. You can find me on Instagram at Damon Pearce Design.
Yeah.
I've got a lot of exciting projects lined up for the spring and the summertime. I'm going to be creating some new work. Possibly even appearing at an event or two with details to come later. So I'm really excited to share that as it unfolds. And by all means, feel free to take a look at my portfolio, see what I've created. And hopefully I get to create something for you very soon.
Yeah, and if you're not following him, what the hell are you doing? Like, honestly, like, what are you doing?
Right,
like, just go ahead. Like,
what have you got to lose? You get to see some really cool stuff. You get to see my beautiful beard.
Yeah, exactly. And your beautiful bald head as well.
Yes.
So
the Matt Hasselbeck
beautiful
special.
As well,
there it is.
As well. Obviously, channeling your inner Matt. So
that's right. We don't want to blind the people too quickly, though. That's why the cover's on.
No, that's why. It's a little too much.
Exactly.
I think you did last time. You had it on.
Yeah.
Off,
if I had this off for too long, it'd be like a giant solar flare taking out the camera.
We need solar panels. We got Damon.
Yeah, exactly. I'll bet Elon Musk got a business in a day.
Oh no, 100%. But yeah, guys, thank you all for watching. Obviously, if you want to continue watching, we're on YouTube, posting almost every single day. And don't forget to check us out on social media, TikTok. I know you're into that too now. Instagram.
Yep, you finally got me on the talk.
I know. Instagram and all that good stuff. So just stay tuned for that. And before the battery dies, thank you all for watching. This was episode 38 of The Rip with our boy Eamon /Damon. Take it easy, guys. Take care.
Ciao.